Well, I think martial arts benefits a lot of people in a lot of different ways. It's one of the beauties of martial arts. I think one of the things that can be overlooked is anytime you set a goal and you meet your goal, you teach yourself a lot about yourself. And I think that BJJ has a real easy test system to understand setting and smashing goals. And I think that kind of sets itself apart from other martial arts that way.
It's not the workout I'm trying to get.
I guess I would describe it in two separate ways. One way is it's active yoga. There's a lot of bending around and moving, and the other is it's wrestling.
How are you feeling? Good. You feel good? You want to do some jiu-jitsu? You guys like getting better?
Primarily, BJJ focuses on ground fighting. I think that's where it separates itself from other martial arts. While other martial arts have ground techniques, BJJ primarily focuses on the ground as its place to get ahead.
Oh, I mean, there's no martial arts that's unique and with a single clean heritage. I mean, it comes from the original Japanese wrestling style, which devolved into judo as well as into jiu-jitsu. And there is Aiki jiu-jitsu, which I've also done, which is a little more throws and wrist locks and stuff like that. And then they incorporated parts of samba, and sort of anything that has worked has been incorporated. And even since, so I started doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu in 2000, and even since then I've seen a big change in the way people do jiu-jitsu. So they've incorporated more of the samba, more of the leg locks, more of the kind of wrestling traditions into traditional Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So even since I've started, it's changed.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a composite martial art, which has become enormously popular in the last 2 decades. Primarily attributed to the Gracie family as its originators, it has spread into a multifaceted discipline, ranging from a method of self-defense to an indispensable tool in MMA.
I got into BJJ specifically because I started MMA. I took a bunch of MMA fights, and in all of my MMA fights, they went to the ground. As it turns out, the better you get at punching people, the faster they wanted to take you to the ground. And so I couldn't just keep concentrating on punching people. I had to learn how to fight on the ground. I have really started to think about things more systematically. And BJJ is a lot different in regards to that. I need to understand the mechanisms that make any specific thing work, and to the extent that I can do that, the better I can do the motion.
So when I started 20 years ago, nobody had heard about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I think one of the things that really brought it onto the scene was the UFC first tournament, where basically the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu folks beat the crap out of everybody else. And because, so they basically came in, they took the guys who were striking down, and then they choked them out. And it's like, oh, wait, that actually works. And so with the rise of MMA, I think and that being on television, I think you see people seeing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and it is very effective when it's on the ground. Because the competitions are so close to what you would actually expect a real fight to be, I think that really helps with karate has had a tendency to have this myth of like, I'm just going to do these forms, and it's not really a martial art, it's an art, it's not a martial competition. And so Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu sort of has been in contrast to that.
It is a great way to control yourself in a high intensity situation and really focus on things you take for granted. Jiu-Jitsu heavily focuses on every minute, tiny movement, things you don't think about on a regular basis, you're now having to think about, and what the consequences and benefits of doing a very small thing can be. But it definitely makes all of those situations feel a lot more manageable.
Martial arts as a sport and as a thing to train gives you a physical confidence that you don't get from just doing aerobics classes. And so I think it's really important both for as a discipline. So it's exercise. I mean, of course it's exercise, but it's also mentally challenging. It's physically challenging, but it also gives you something that you can't really get from just playing tennis, which is the ability to feel confident walking around the street and interacting with people. So I'm one of those people I did gymnastics when I was young, and I started doing martial arts. So I like to do things that are physical, and I want to do things that are physically challenging and mentally challenging as well. I really like that full body challenge. I also like that you have to think your way through it. So while you're busy rolling around on the floor, you have to actually have something in the back of your head that's going, okay, that went wrong last time, how can I fix it next time?
I'm dedicated to helping people get better and achieving the goals that they need to achieve through martial arts. I personally am addicted to being better, and that isn't just about me doing jiu-jitsu, but it's also about me teaching jiu-jitsu. Teaching jiu-jitsu is something I take very serious, and I want people around me to be better. Obviously I'm biased. I do BJJ. I'm, invested in more people doing BJJ, but a lot of the rhetoric that goes along with jiu-jitsu is just this people imploring people to get off their couch and come in and do jiu-jitsu. Almost no matter where you hear people talk about it, this is what they're saying, and I would suggest you think about the consistency of that messaging. No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, get off your couch, come do some jiu-jitsu with us. It will change your life.